You're listening to the Telltale Channel. In this podcast, Louisiana passed a bill which requires the Ten Commandments be displayed prominently in every public school classroom, pushed by the party of small government and parents' rights, of course. There's a TikToker named NYC Gay Dad. He was attacked by white nationalists and Christian militant Stu Peters. He slandered the guy and contacted the police to open an investigation into him. He's just a gay dude with kids. Stu Peters took the videos down so he didn't risk legal action. A tradwife influencer just went viral for saying the N-word multiple times. Her name is Lilly Gaddis. She's very popular on the right-wing circuit, but she had a falling out with the ecosphere after they accused her of sleeping with somebody at one of the conferences. It is a roller coaster of a story. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. We also take voicemails. If you want to leave a voicemail, the number is 1-800-701-8573. If you had trouble getting through to my voicemail system previously, I apologize. There was an issue with it, but it's resolved now. It's very, expensive to run a company like I do. It's just me, but it costs so much money to do all of this, to have the cameras and the computers and the lights and the everything. Plus, monthly costs are like crazy. Thousands of dollars per month. I switched my card. I canceled the card because I lost it, and I switched everything over to the new card. I forgot about the voicemail system. I didn't realize that it was pulling from that card or whatever. And they cut it off when I missed the payment within days. And it was $10.51 that I owed them. $10.51. And they cut off my voicemail system. Petty doesn't even begin to describe that whole situation, in my opinion. Anyway. Check this one out. This is from mid-January 2022. He's talking about the election.
Everything you're going to see over these next 7 months to get rid of the machines, you're going to see the Supreme Court case coming out, all these great things, everybody. By the way, you can find more at frankspeech.com.
Did he say 7 months, over the next 7 months? I'm sorry. This is January 2022, so did something happen in August 20? No, nothing. Nothing happened. Okay, he was just completely full of awesome.
Put that out there. There are so many. I'm more optimistic today than I have been yesterday, the day before that. I'm on an incline like this. Why? Because
of all the math?
It's so amazing. All the things that we have. We already have all the pieces of the puzzle. And you talk about evidence. We had enough evidence to put everybody in prison for life, 300 and some million people.
That's quite a feat, considering there are 325 million people in the country, including toddlers and infants. So, wow, 300-something million people cheated in the election? And you have evidence of this? Okay.
We had that all the way back to November, December. But what we have are these other things that had to happen, which was all evil revealing itself. I mean, evil's popping up like pocket gophers. I mean, they pop their heads up, it's whack-a-mole, right? I mean, it's everywhere. And that all had to be revealed so that we can fix it.
What is wrong with this guy? There is something going on here. Is it just me? What is going on in his head? I have so many examples of this guy. I think he's a true believer. I don't say this lightly, but every clip that I have of him, he exudes true believer to me. Why would he be doing all of this? He released a movie, quote unquote, a documentary or whatever, called Absolute Proof. I covered the whole thing on my Owen Morgan Unfiltered YouTube channel. It was absolute nonsense. All of it is just nuts. But why would he make something like that? All these months later, years later even, he's still talking about it today. Why would he do that if he didn't believe it? I don't know. I think Donald Trump knows he's lying, and he's still talking about it. So there's that. But I don't know. Mike Lindell strikes me as somebody who believes it. Tell me in the comments, is he someone who believes this nonsense after all these years? Sadly for Mike Lindell, after that video came out, he was debanked. This one is mid-January 2022.
They want us to leave their bank. What you're going to hear on these recordings are
wicked mustache, right?
Horrific. Because now that you have. It's manifested from this, Steve. They're bringing back a year ago, and all these terrible outlets like the Washington Post, and I just had a call from the Guardian today, and then you have the Daily Beast. All of these outlets now are attacking me, re-attacking me again, trying to say I'm some kind of a let's subpoena Mike Lindell's records. As you know, I went after Pelosi and that fake committee they got going to scare everybody.
Wait, the fake what? What did he just say?
Fake committee they got going.
A fake committee, the January 6th committee. I remember. Okay, yeah. And it's supposed to scare everybody. Okay. I wasn't scared by it. Who's it scaring? I mean, I wasn't at the Capitol on January 6th. I didn't lead an insurrection against the U.S. government. I didn't carry a Confederate battle flag through the halls of Congress. Maybe that's why I'm not scared of the January 6th committee. Just tossing it out there. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let me get a little more specific from Mike Lindell. I didn't organize parts of the riot, parts of the insurrection, or fly certain influential people in on my private jet. So I'm not living in fear of the January 6th committee or anything else. I don't expect the FBI to knock down my door and drag me away in handcuffs for insurrecting on the U.S. government. I don't know who he thinks this is scaring, but it's not everybody. It's only a very specific select group of people.
Committee they got going to scare everybody. And by doing this, now these banks want to get part of the cancel culture. They want to cancel out all of these entities. The biggest one they worry about, frank speech, everybody.
Yeah, because banks don't like having money in accounts. So they love canceling people because the less money that they have in their accounts, the better it is for them, of course, right? And they're just like, they love cancel culture. It's just like tops for them, totally.
They want to silence frank speech. They want to silence my voice. Lindell TV, there's 9 entities on there. Steve, they called me. When they called my controller, I couldn't believe it.
What does he mean by entities? 9 entities on frank speech? That's his, is that his social media network? It was supposed to be a social media network, but it turned into a kind of a news type of thing. He writes, well, he doesn't, but he has people writing blog posts and releasing videos. I think maybe Steve Bannon and Roger Stone, they might have been on his frank speech thing. Oh my God, this guy. Is it Frank Speech TV? No. Yeah, it is. frankspeech.com. See here. Okay, so he's got like some stuff along the top. Elections, politics, economics, religion, education. What's this? Ooh boy, this is risky. Playing something that I have not like listened to ahead of time on a live stream, and it's something from Mike Lindell. This is a big risk.
It looks like we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not someone that has the Frank Speech app download it.
This is a live stream, I guess.
Now, because it's the fastest growing conservative free speech app in the world. A lot of our...
Is it like all ads? Like what the hell is happening? Oh yeah, Lou Dobbs. I remember Lou Dobbs. He was fired from Fox News or Fox Business, wasn't he? And the guy on the right, is this the leader of the Black Robe Regiment? I'm not sure. Oh my God.
Wrote a letter.
You know, I appreciate that they mute it automatically, but it's kind of annoying.
Proposing the creation of an open division for trans-identified athletes. But that was enough to get him fired from the high school. John Park's with us tonight to tell his side of the story. And John, great to have you with us. I have to say, by every metric I can think of, you've gotten a really raw deal from your high school.
Every metric he can think of, he got a raw deal. Okay.
I don't understand it. You didn't insult anybody. You were straightforward. And
we know this is just a nonpartisan, honest actor who just wants to, he's looking out for the best interests of everybody. And you know how we know that? Because he's on the far-right TV network, Frank Speech, speaking to the far-right nutcase, Lou Dobbs. That's how you know he's super honest and independent and nonpartisan.
6 in the nation, and I knew she was going to get challenged, and I wrote a letter and I just said we need to change this rule. I'm not trying to advocate for transgender athletes not having any competitive opportunities, but you can't allow them to just race evenly with women
I mean, this is just all the same nonsense that the right pushes 24/7. Anyway, that's Frank's speech. This guy is just... How did he get all of his money? Is pillow salesman really such a lucrative business? I'm in the wrong industry, man. I should be a pillow salesman. I need to invent new pillow technology. I'm not even joking when I say that. He really says that. Here's a good one. When everybody who's going to buy your pillow has already purchased your pillow, your slippers, your towels, your little trivets, and your hot pads, and your everythings, this is what you got to come out here and do next.
And you can hear the media now. Mike Lindell just changes his pillow to make more money. No, we changed it because we didn't have the technology back then, so we enhanced it. If I was just going to put a different color on,
enhanced pillow technology. Oh, I love everything about it. This is so funny.
I wouldn't do it. This actually adds technology that helps people sleep. And I would think that anybody that has a product where you can improve it, where it actually manifests as something that helps people.
You know what, Mike? I have a message for you.
Now you're an asshole. You got that? You're an asshole, is what you are. No, he's an asshole. No, he's an ambulance chasing asshole. That's what you are. Lumpy pillows, kiss my ass. Put that in your book.
I love it, man. Mike Lindell is like an endless supply of hilarious content. Like, I could listen to this clip every day for like the rest of my life and just eat this up. It's so funny. What is like going on in his head? Is there anything knocking around up there at all? Anyway, I wanted to talk about Lindell originally because a caller mentioned him. I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at some of his stuff. I do want to listen to voicemails and people talking about Lindell and Greg Locke and some other famous nutcases. My number is 1-800-701-8573. I had a problem with my system, but it's resolved now. It was giving like a fast busy signal, but you can call in now. Sorry about that. I get regular callers that call in sometimes, and they don't want me to like play their stuff because they don't like the sound of their voice, but I listen to their voicemails. So hopefully like Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois. Is that the one? I hope he like starts calling in again. Sorry, Guy, if you see this. Anyway, let's listen to the first voicemail here.
Hey, Owen, this is Paul in Louisiana. I'm listening to one of your videos, Gray Locke. Let me tell you, this Constitution was formed by our forefathers because, separation of church and state. That reason was because the Pope Catholic Church got so much power that Galileo, our famous astronomer, had said the sun revolved around the earth instead of vice versa. And he was almost crucified and he was sent to prison. So that's the one point I wanted to make. The other point is I'd rather sleep on a cement block in one of his pillows. Okay, that's my message. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Now you're an asshole. You got that? You're an asshole, is what you are. No, he's an asshole.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for the voicemail. That's interesting. Yeah, separation of church and state is interesting to me because the United States is basically the first and the biggest test of having a secular government. And it's super successful. Really, really successful. The goal is to have a country where everybody can live, regardless of race or gender or nationality or anything at all, religion or whatever. We want to have a country for everybody. And it worked. It was really good. But Christian nationalists are trying to tear it down now, unfortunately. We just got to fight against it for real. We have to fight this. Their win is not guaranteed. Honestly, they're not going to succeed in turning the country into a Christian nationalist state. And the reason they're not going to succeed in doing that is because you and I and everybody else who's to the left of hunting the homeless for sport don't support that. We're going to fight against it every single day if that's what it takes. Anyway, thanks for the voicemail. I appreciate that.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brookville, Illinois.
Yeah, thank you for the voicemail, guy. I'm sorry. Hopefully you call back in. I don't, my whole system was messed up.
Hey, Owen, Guy Young, Brook, Illinois. Just caught a YouTube clip with Jen from the Young Turks. Its title was "Trump Hurt by the Felony Conviction," and in there, he says that so some Republicans say they're more likely to vote for Trump because he's convicted. Those are people just yanking our chain to think, oh boy, I'm so sorry they convicted Trump because now the Republicans are really mad. Come on. And then there's this in the independents, 17% of more independents say they're more likely to vote for Trump. These people are not independents. They're Republicans. They try to hide behind it. Oh, I'm an independent to make it look like they're not going to vote for a criminal. Oops, they are going to vote for a criminal. R.I.P. GOP 2023. This marks the grave right here. Come on. Bring the grave marker right over here.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned donations and stuff, and funding, and the felony, support for felonies and stuff. Here are my thoughts on the subject. You can usually gauge a candidate's popularity by their publicly announced funding, basically. So there are a lot of laws about public funding, about people donating to a political campaign. You can't just donate whatever you want. Can't donate $10 million to a political campaign. You have to donate it to a super PAC, which is an organization that has a ton of money, and it's a private entity, and independently creates ads and memes and whatever for a candidate, on a candidate's behalf. But they have no connection to the candidate. They've never talked to the guy before. That way, they can completely bypass all of the funding requirements. However, candidates do still need funding, and they ask for that funding. They want to have the money in their wallet so that they can create ads for themselves. So we can look at candidates' publicly reported funding, because I think the limit is like $10,000, or no, it's $5,000 or something like that. Individual people can't donate millions. They can only donate like four figures, to my knowledge. So looking at public funding is a really good gauge for enthusiasm, at the very least, if not public support. So we want to look at like Donald Trump's fundraising numbers as opposed to Joe Biden's fundraising numbers. And Joe Biden has consistently been out fundraising Trump this whole time. When Trump got convicted, like, I don't think we know yet exactly what he brought in, but I imagine he probably got some support, some extra support from people. They probably sent in more money. Trump says it was like, so Trump got like $30 million one month, Biden got $50 million, and it's kind of been on that path that whole time, Trump says he got $400 million in like 3 days. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to report it to the FCC. Is that it? Is that who it is? Or the FEC? You're going to have to report it. And when I get this publicly reported number, then I'll believe it. Anyway, Biden has consistently been out fundraising Trump. That's why I think there's a lot more enthusiasm for Biden, or a lot less enthusiasm for Trump at the very least. People are going to be voting against him, in my opinion. These votes swing based on 100,000 votes across 5 states a lot of the time. If we can pull over enough Republicans who see what Trump is doing and recognize it as treasonous and want nothing to do with it, we can pull over just a few of those guys, honest Republicans who aren't out of their head on Jesus juice and MAGA juice. I think that we have a really good chance of winning. And oh boy, do I hope we win, because I don't know what's going to happen to me as a political commentator oppositional to Trump in the next Trump presidency. Yeah, it's the FEC, I guess, my mistake. Anyway, yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's just like, I think Biden's going to win. It's super disturbing, though, the whole thing. Trump shouldn't be getting any funding, like zero. Nobody should be funding a traitor like this.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Owen.
He calls in all the time, too. I hope I didn't lose. I hope you start calling in again.
Hello, Ron. Hello, Owen. Excuse me. This is Ron from Tennessee. I was wondering about with the rise of the Christian nationalism and everything, do you think it's going to water down, or do you think it's going to get worse? I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I really like your opinion on it. And thank you so much. You are so awesome. And please take care of yourself and your family. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, appreciate that. Can do, buckaroo. Now, about Christian nationalism. I think that Christianity is on a decline right now, a dramatic decline. The evangelical voting bloc, which is who I think of when I think Christian nationalists, is about 15% of, is it the party or the country? Let's see. Let me just find out real quick. I'm just now realizing that it's BLOC rather than BLOCK. What does BLOC mean? Getting off on a rabbit hole here. A combination of countries, parties, or groups sharing a common purpose. BLOC. Okay, that's interesting, like an alliance. There's U.S. News. I think U.S. News is okay, isn't it? Is this trustworthy? Yeah. High factual reporting, left of center, almost to least biased. All right. I feel comfortable trusting U.S. News and World Report for the moment, tentatively. I usually want to turn to Reuters or AP News or BBC America, Independent. Those are good, pretty trustworthy. But we'll check this one. Assessing the precise role of evangelicals in elections is not easy, a new study by 2 sociologists shows, because analysts and pollsters use quite different definitions to identify these voters and their movement. I wish it would name the sociologists. Those are weasel words. Maybe they cited it at the bottom. Noting that claims about the size and characteristics of American evangelicals are often inconsistent, even contradictory. Michael Lindsay, a professor at Rice University, and Conrad Hackett, a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Texas, say that estimates of the adult evangelical population have ranged from as small as 7% of the total adult population to as large as 47%. Right. Okay, so it did name their sources. That's good. So some sociologists say it's between 7 and 47%. The evangelical voting bloc, specifically, is about 15%, to my knowledge. But there are a lot of other churches that identify as evangelical. They're like black evangelical churches. Because evangelical is an old word that's been used for a really long time, and it's been kind of co-opted by this voting bloc. So anyway, to my knowledge, about 15% of the U.S. population, but they hold a disproportionate amount of power. 15% of the adult population, not just 15% of the Republican Party. But as a result, they hold a disproportionate amount of power. They have been working, when I say they, I'm talking about Leo Leonard, Lance Wallnau, Kenneth Copeland, and everybody associated with him. Franklin Graham, his son, Franklin Graham, Jerry Falwell Sr., and, all of the top televangelists who talk about, John Hagee's another, they talk about politics nonstop on their platforms. They have been working in the background silently to get people into positions of power for the past 30 or 40 years. Since the 70s, really. That's when Falwell Sr. started really leaning into it, the moral majority and all that other junk. So right now, what we're looking at in the U.S. is the result of decades of sitting silently and just sneaking people into the system without raising any suspicion. John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court right now, he is a Christian nationalist extremist. He wants prayer in schools. He wants publicly funded religious schools. He wants all the same stuff that the furthest right evangelical wants. But he hasn't acted on any of that since he was put in. Was it 2006 when he was put in, I think? Hasn't done anything. He's just sat there and waited. Now they have a majority on the Supreme Court. John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. I think those are the... and Gorsuch. That's 6. Because it's a 6-3 majority. And they can do anything now. The evangelicals on the Supreme Court, which is all of them, can take up any case and overturn anything. Now was their time to strike. They make up 15% of the country. They're striking now because they have positions of power. And people were watching. They were like, oh, holy shit, this is happening right now. This is not good. Over the past 30 years, people have been saying, John Roberts is like a right-wing evangelical extremist. It's not good that he's getting into the Supreme Court, but he hadn't done anything. Nobody did anything. They were just sitting and waiting. So right now we're seeing the result of decades of work from televangelists and evangelical leaders. We're watching it unfold in front of us. The vast majority of the United States does not want chaplains in schools. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody, hang on. I don't remember there's a metric that I was reading about recently. It's not something that the general population wants. Chaplains in schools, 10 commandments in classrooms, mandated prayer, mandated Bible reading. Nobody wants that, except for evangelicals. And they're going to force their way in now. That's what's happening. We need to fight against it. We need to be aware of what they're doing and talk about it. Bring attention to this. And it's worked. We've all brought attention to this pretty adequately. Christianity itself is declining. I think it's like 68 or 70% of the U.S. is Christian now, down from 80-something. I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at the stats, and they're probably different now anyway by the time you see the video. But Christianity is falling, but people are getting more extreme, like a lot more extreme, and evangelicals have struck. So that's my position on it, if you're wondering. I don't think that they're going to win, like the evangelicals, Project 2025 and all of that. I don't think that that's going to succeed. They might get some of their stuff pushed through, but it's not going to be much. And I think that we'll be able to turn it around, especially once Trump is gone, because he has not kind of crowned a successor to the throne yet. So all of that popularity that Donald Trump has will be gone by the end of the, in 4 years, it'll be gone. Unless he really pumps somebody up. And do you see Donald Trump pumping anybody up other than himself? I don't. The Republican Party's been torn in two. There's a pretty big group of people who voted Republican consistently and then voted Donald Trump and will never vote Republican again because they think Trump's been terribly mistreated by Fox News and whoever else. Delusionally, obviously. And then there's another group of people who were Republican their whole lives and are absolutely disgusted by what Trump is doing. The Republican Party has torn itself in two. And the only way that they can possibly win right now is if Trump is the one going, because most people will say, well, okay, I guess I'll vote for him. But when a new person comes in, all those people are dropping out, all the others. So anyway, we can win this, is the point. We can prevent this from going down the tubes. But the very next step is to vote Biden in again. It's the very next step. We have to take that, no matter what. Anyway, thank you for the voicemail, Ron. I appreciate that. And I hope you call in again. Again, if you keep it under 45 seconds or a minute, I'm nearly guaranteed to hear your voicemail.
Hi, Owen. My name is Melissa. On YouTube, most likely you have seen me. You Brick, I Fix, or Melissa Hollowbaugh for a while. Anyways, I was a heroin addict too, and I wanted to correct you that the other day you said if someone says that they're shooting up in between their toes, that's false. I'm sorry, but I had a buddy who really did shoot up in between his toes. And as disturbing as that was, he did it because he needed to make sure he didn't have any track marks, and he didn't have any more veins to pop. So anyways, I love your show. Love you. Keep up the good work, and have a good day, honey. Bye.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's interesting. When I was in the drug world, I knew the worst of the worst. I had been around them. I wasn't friends with them, but I was in rooms with them, My ex's grandmother and aunt, aged 50 and 75, were both heroin addicts and had both destroyed every vein in their body. If you hit a vein enough, it just collapses. Doesn't really matter, though, because, you have deeper veins that are down there in your arms and everywhere. So if you don't have any veins left that you can see, it's fine. Your blood's still going to pump and you'll be okay. But you won't be able to, use a syringe anymore like that. Not easily. At hospitals, they have a machine that they shine on you and they see all of the veins, the deep veins they can hit. But addicts don't have those machines. So I knew this 75-year-old woman who used to do it every single day, multiple times a day. And the aunt and the grandmother would literally spend 3 hours a day scheming, planning, coming up with some way to get money. They'd go to Walmart with a baby car seat type of thing, and they'd have maybe a baby in there. There were people around who had babies. This is like a little community that they all lived in, all of the addicts that I knew. They'd put a baby in there, they'd push it in the shopping cart, and they'd grab the most expensive and smallest item they could find, which happens to be shower curtains. They would grab shower curtains, like, I don't know what they were, for like $40 or something at the time. They'd slip them under the baby carriage thing, and they'd just walk right out the front door. They would go to a Walmart that was 20 minutes away and return them without a receipt. You get a gift card for that. You get a $150 gift card. You can trade that to somebody for half the cash. So a $150 gift card is worth $75 cash. They'd go buy heroin. This whole process takes them about 3 hours. They go back to their house, and then they spend another 3 hours trying to hit a vein. I was there and watched this whole process unfold every day of their lives, every single day. I knew them for years. 75-year-old woman sitting there while her daughter tries to hit a vein on her for hours. Her daughter died at, I think, 50 years old, maybe. I believe that she had maybe HIV. I don't know what she had. She had something that killed her eventually. I knew this one guy, Chris, who switched from from hitting his arms, he started hitting his jugular vein in his neck. That's the next step. You go from taking it orally to snorting it to using a needle to using the needle on your neck. That is insane. I remember Chris was in my car one time and he wanted to do some heroin and he didn't have like any water. You need water to put in the spoon and, heat it up, so on and so forth. So he steps out and gets water out of a puddle, puts it in the thing, and then does the whole thing. Out of a puddle. He used Mountain Dew. He used Mountain Dew one time. You'd be surprised what you can put in your body and not die. Holy shit. I knew people who did it in their neck. The grandmother, 75 years old, did it in her hands. She did it in her legs, in the back of her legs. She did it in her ribs. She did it everywhere, but not between her toes. I've never personally seen a vein in my toes. I'm sure that they're there, but they're deep veins. I've never seen somebody with surface veins between their toes. So anyway, maybe this guy had some and I just, didn't notice or whatever. But yeah, that's my history with it. That's what I've seen. It's crazy. I used oxy or morphine. Last time was 5 years ago. Suboxone got me off them. Me too. Same deal. Next up, Louisiana passed a bill which requires the Ten Commandments be displayed prominently in every public school classroom. Pushed by the party of small government and parents' rights, of course. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally.
Rest you, who likes the Ten Commandments, by the way, going up in the schools?
I don't know if you guys heard about this. The Ten Commandments have been ordered by law to be put up in every Louisiana school. There's a lot of legal framework behind all of this I want to talk about. So Trump decided to address the issue.
They think it's such a bad thing. I said, has anyone read the "Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt..." Has anyone
read "Thou shalt not commit adultery"? Specifically, this guy, this, Agent Orange over here, has he read that part? Has he ever read any of the commandments?
I mean, has anybody read this incredible stuff? It's just incredible. They don't want it to go up. It's a crazy world, a crazy world.
Absolutely insane. Now, if you want to put 10 commandments up in your house or on your lawn or whatever, go nuts. I have no issue with that. You want to have them displayed prominently, get 10-foot high granite things and have it chiseled into them, the 10 commandments, and put it right out front. Go ahead. I don't care. What I care about is childhood indoctrination. That is what's happening, really. That's my complaint. And actually, the core complaint that I have is that this law that Louisiana passed to force a picture of the 10 Commandments to be put up in every single classroom, it is a challenge to the legal framework that maintains the separation between church and state. If somebody comes along and challenges a law that law is built upon and erases it, then every single state can put up 10 commandments and they can start putting up all kinds of other stuff. They can work religious stuff into every part of government. It's not just the 10 commandments anymore. We're going to talk about like the legal ramifications in a second, but just check this out. This is Lauren Boebert, who has decided to address the issue too.
I don't think that it's bad to have something that says honor your father and mother so that you will live a long life. That is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it.
Like, I don't even know why they're putting up 10 commandments. They're Christians, right? Not Jews. Why didn't they put up the Sermon on the Mount? Why do they care about the 10 commandments at all? The first commandment contradicts the first amendment. You can't have both. First commandment is, you shall have no other gods before me. And the first amendment is, you have freedom of religion. You can believe anything you want and you can say anything you want. I think like 4 of the commandments are like specifically about God, right? Been a while since I looked at the 10 commandments, or the other 603 for that matter. You know why it's been a while? Because I'm not Jewish and it doesn't apply to me. I mean, I'm not Christian either, but it shouldn't apply to me even then. You shall have no other gods before me. Contradicts the First Amendment. You shall not make idols. That probably contradicts First Amendment too, right? Freedom of religion, freedom to do whatever you want. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Once again, First Amendment, the very first one they put in. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Doesn't apply to Christians. Why is that even in there? Honor your father and your mother. This is like a rule of the universe that's existed since humans have been on Earth, okay? Everybody wants the kid to honor their parent. That's not useful to anybody. You shall not murder. Again, something everybody knows. Cultures had this rule like long before Judaism came along, or completely without Jewish influence. This has always existed. Murder is wrong. You shall not commit adultery. You really want to legislate that? You want to force people to not commit adultery? Again, is this the party of small government that's doing this? It doesn't seem like it. Small government and parents' rights. It seems like those are just things that they like to use, that they like to parade around and pretend they believe in to get them further in the political system rather than actually believing them. And finally, you shall not steal. Again, something that everybody knows. Nobody needs to be told that. So here are the values in the 10 Commandments that I don't think should be on a classroom wall because we live in a secular government, if for no other reason than that. You shall not have any other gods before me. Shouldn't be there. You shall not make idols. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Again, I can do anything I want. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Doesn't apply to Christians. Honor your father and your mother. I suppose that one can go up. Sure. You shall not murder. Everyone already knows it, but sure, I guess, if you want. You shall not commit adultery. I can do whatever I want. This has nothing to do with you. Doesn't affect your life at all. Doesn't affect anybody else's life except for people in my personal life. That's it. I mean, I'm not going to commit adultery, and I think adultery is wrong, but you shouldn't go to jail for adultery. And finally, you shall not steal. Okay, that one can go up too. So the only three that I'm okay with: honor your father and your mother, you shall not murder, and you shall not steal. Why didn't you write those three on a piece of paper and stick it on a classroom wall? I've got Kootmaster in the chat. He's Jewish. Says, funny, they aren't Jewish and don't follow Shabbat, Saturday rest. Oh, yeah, it's Saturday. I keep thinking it's Sunday for some reason. Yeah, I don't understand. How are they coming to these wild conclusions? And this is just erasing the barrier between church and state.
That is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. I don't think that it's bad to teach children that adultery is something that you should not do. And also,
I can do whatever I want. This coming from Lauren Boebert, right? Adultery is not something you should do. Didn't she just get divorced and get caught doing stuff in a movie theater with somebody, I think? I didn't see the video, so I don't know. I believe that's what happened, right? I mean, I don't know if that's adultery or not. I guess that's technically not if she was divorced first. But I wonder why they got divorced.
Children, that adultery is something that you should not do. And also listed in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. And maybe the...
Not for nothing, but I think her son is on trial right now for felonies related to theft. Like 30 felonies or something. I don't usually bring this up. Her son, and I don't intend to talk about it at length or anything because this kid is not asking to be in the limelight. He doesn't want any part of this, apparently. He hasn't spoken to the press or anything, and he's very clearly having a hard time in his life. I've had a hard time in my life too. Okay, I've been there where I'm going through a rough patch and I don't know how to pull myself out of it. So I don't even know the kid's name, and I don't want to. I just want to point out that she doesn't respect any of these. And she didn't raise her kids to respect any of these either, apparently. The 18-year-old son of U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert was arrested by Rifle Police. That's the name of the town. What a wild name for a town. Arrested by Rifle Police officers Tuesday in connection with a recent string of vehicle trespass and property thefts in the town. While officials have yet to release details, Colorado Bureau of Investigation records indicate Boebert was breaking into vehicles to steal credit cards and other identification documents such as driver's licenses and passports. Again, I don't even want to go into the kid's name because it's completely irrelevant to the story. He's not asking for this. I'm not going to do it. But Lauren Boebert has never cared about this. This is about indoctrination. It's always been about cramming Christianity, or let me rephrase, cramming these people's specific version and interpretation of their religion down everybody's throats. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't identify with anything that this woman has to say. You think you're safe when she gains more power in the United States, or when Trump institutes some of the plans that are laid out, like Project 2025? Christians are not safe either. If you aren't their denomination of Christianity, you don't belong here, and it's going to get real ugly. Everybody should be against this. The 10 Commandments bill isn't just, oh, we want the 10 Commandments up in Louisiana. It's not about that. This is about erasing a key component to the separation of church and state. Now that Louisiana has put up these bills, there's going to be a lawsuit. This is part of public interest law. You have to pick your battles wisely, right? So it's very clearly unconstitutional and illegal to put up 10 Commandments statues or whatever in every single classroom. That's been established by case law going all the way back to 1803 or even earlier, when under Thomas Jefferson's presidency or whatever. If there's a lawsuit that goes against Louisiana and is brought to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decides it's okay, yes, they can put it up, they are erasing the entire infrastructure that protects people from the church overtaking the government. So it's a calculated risk. The ACLU's decided they are going to move forward with the lawsuit against Louisiana to prevent this from taking effect, or it's already taken effect, so prevent or take it down, I guess, remove the bill. They've decided they're going to do that, but this is a real risk that the ACLU is taking. Do we just let Louisiana get away with this and just turn around and just keep doing what we're doing? Or do we challenge it, bring it to the Supreme Court, and risk the possibility that the infrastructure will be removed out from under us, and every state is going to put 10 commandments in their classrooms? As a matter of fact, they're not just going to put 10 commandments in their classrooms. Now that this infrastructure has been taken out, they can mandate prayer in schools. They can abolish schools in favor of churches, basically. Turn them into 8-hour-long church camps, effectively. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're going to church. That's public school. This risk is one that the Louisiana legislature knew that people are going to have to take. It doesn't hurt Republicans at all. They don't lose anything. If they lose this court battle, well, okay, things are exactly as they were before. If they win the court battle, everything falls apart. All of the legal infrastructure protecting us falls apart. That's why this is happening. I would like to think that the Supreme Court justices aren't so indoctrinated and wrapped up in their own heads that they would see how this would destroy our legal infrastructure. But I don't think so. I don't think that they're going to come to that realization. I think that the evangelical right has been working toward this scenario for a long time. They've been sitting and waiting. Leo Leonard, famous, I think he's a billionaire, and the leader of like think tanks and super PACs and all this stuff, he handpicked the Supreme Court justices, like a bunch of them that are on there today. Maybe all of them? I'm not sure. All the conservative Supreme Court justices were picked by one guy, Leo Leonard. He gave the names to the people in the White House, and the White House just said, okay, we'll push them through. Amy Coney Barrett. Do you think Trump really has any knowledge about the federal judiciary? Like anybody, you think that Trump's sitting there studying case law and watching these judges adjudicate, seeing how informed they are? No, he was given a name by Leo Leonard and he put them in. Simple as that. The evangelical voting bloc makes up about 15% of the United States. 15%. And they hold a disproportionate amount of power because they haven't leapt yet. They haven't jumped the gun. They've just been sitting and waiting this whole time until they were in a good position to do some psychotic shit. And now, all across the United States, you see 10 Commandments bills being proposed. In Oklahoma, what's his name? Ryan Walters, the superintendent, Ryan Walters, just created the first publicly funded, taxpayer-funded religious school, like religious private school. Now, taxpayers are paying for kids to go to church every day, basically, and get indoctrinated. And I haven't even touched the chaplain bills yet. Now, before I go into it, I just want you guys to know, like, I don't want you to be freaked out about this, all right? This is really easy to get, like, wrapped up in this. I do think that we're going to win here. And even if we don't win, in my opinion, Project 2025, which outlines the plan for all this insane stuff that they intend to do, I don't believe that Project 2025 will be implemented. I think we're going to get some of it or parts of it. You know, the Overton window is a window of acceptable public discourse in society. Communism is not an acceptable part of public discourse in the United States today. There are no communist legislators. There are no communist politicians that operate in the U.S. There are probably a few communists around, but it's extremely uncommon. The more insane people go, the further right that these people go, the further right they pull the Overton window. Project 2025 is an absolutely insane write-up of insane stuff that these people want. And they're trying to pull it over to the right. So they'll probably get some of it. They'll get half measures because politics is all about compromise. They're not going to get all of it. And what's more, just think about where we are today compared to where we were 50 years ago. Not that long ago, we were drinking from whites-only and blacks-only water fountains. Not that long ago, we were living in a segregated society. Not so long ago, it was against the law for a man to own more than 3 pieces of women's clothing. I don't think that's a law anymore. At least it's not enforced. Not so long ago, There are sodomy laws. There are trigger laws. So the point here is we are way further ahead. We are in a way better position today than we were 50 years ago. It's hard to see the good things that happen when all of this bad stuff is pelting you day in and day out. So I don't want you to get down about this. I mean, here, let me give you a piece of good news. Louis Gaddis has been kicked out of Congress. He was one of the most destructive congressmen in the United States, in U.S. Congress. You think Marjorie Taylor Greene's insane? Louis Gaddis was maybe worse than her, just not as vocal. And he's been in Congress for like decades. And he was kicked out. We can do this. The moral arc of the universe bends toward justice because we bend it that way. So don't get down. Put one foot in front of the next and keep going. Now, having said all of that, I want to talk about the chaplain bills. Because once again, evangelicals are trying to push this religious garbage, and we need to be aware of this. We need to understand how this works so that we can counter this kind of thing. This one's from mid-June 2024, I believe. Just add a little context before going in. The right is passing tons of bills right now that allow chaplains into schools to replace school counselors. So they're getting pastors in to counsel kids instead. I think we should create situations where there are fewer kids around pastors. That seems to work out the best, but that's just me. Anyway, legally, it says chaplains, and that means that any religious figure, any religious leader, like the Satanic Temple or Jains or Sikhs or Muslims or Hindu, any religious figure should be able to come in and act as a chaplain. That's how our legal system works. It's supposed to act as a deterrent from one side getting too powerful and pushing their own agenda. Everything applies to everybody fairly, and you can't legislate specifically Christian things. You can't say you have to put up the Sermon on the Mount, or you have to say a prayer to Yahweh every morning in schools. You can't say that. You can say, at best, you have to say a prayer to God every morning, or the Creator or something. It can't be that specific. Then you get Satanists coming in and saying their prayers to people, to Satan or whoever. That's supposed to be the deterrent to prevent this kind of thing from happening. And these people address that. They're about to, they're passing bills that allow pastors into schools. They're about to talk about it.
But the left side will make innuendos. Well, now we're going to have Satan as his chaplains first. Satanic is not a church, is not a religion.
Yes, it is. Legally, it is a religion. It's even like atheism is actually viewed as a religion too for legal purposes because it's a religious category. So yeah, Satanists are a recognized legal church.
Not a church, it's not a religion, it's anti-God. So you just say, okay, and move on to the next one. Because I don't know any of you that would hire a Satanist, so you just look at their background and don't hire them.
So their solution to this is discrimination. Discriminate against people based on religion. They're instructing people to throw out any anti-discrimination law, just completely ignore them. In fact, I guess in their mind, in an ideal world, we would repeal the anti-discrimination parts of the Constitution, right?
I mean, I don't know people in their engineering firm or teachers or baseball coaches that have an outright Satanist and say, oh, yeah, well, we'll hire. So it's not an argument. It's a narrative.
The only other comment, one of the oppositions, well, anybody can be a chaplain then. I mean, a Muslim can come in and be a chaplain.
Yeah, that's the whole bit.
And we just said, no, it has to be a certified chaplain. So that's how we kind of got around that.
Yeah, thank you.
It has to be a certified chaplain, which means the chaplain has to come to the state for certification, and the state will decide if this person can be certified. And the state's just not going to certify Muslims, or they're just not going to certify Satanists or whoever. Has to be a Christian pastor. Or even worse, they're going to pass bills, which I keep saying they're going to. Legislators across the country on a state level are currently passing bills right now. In fact, I have a chart of this. My wife's in law school, and she's been this is one of her projects that she's been working on, tracking chaplains in schools bills. And I created a chart of all of the states that are doing it right now. this is the list currently. Texas, Ohio, Florida, Nebraska, Alabama, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Maryland, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Iowa, where chaplains can replace school counselors. I think like 10 or 11 of them have no education requirements. I think only one of them requires an education, and it requires a master's degree in divinity or theology or religious studies or related field, 2 years of counseling experience. That's a requirement. State certification not required. I'm only saying this for the audio audience. The video one can see the chart here, but somewhere around 9 of them out of 13 don't require a certification. And then like 3 or 4 of them do require a certification. It's simple to submit a new bill that says certification can go through this company instead of the state, which they did. Some of the bills said you have to be certified through this specific company, a private entity. No eligibility requirements is like 4 of them, I think. Sex offenders are ineligible, and only sex offenders. That's 8 of them. And I think 1 of them has other eligibility requirements. Parental consent not required, 83%. Parental consent is required, 17%. So they're putting pastors in place of school counselors, and the pastor can talk to your kid about Jesus without parental consent. Now, what was all of this about parents' rights that they've been talking about nonstop? Anyway, the certification, quote unquote, I think it's like a form that you fill out online, basically. You just go through this little thing to verify that you understand what you're doing and that you know how to blah, 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 whatever. And that's it. It's all it takes. Some of them require 40 hours of training. Some of them require absolutely nothing. So the point is, these people on screen here are trying to set up a scenario in which they can dictate who can be a pastor in a church, and it's only going to be Christian pastors.
Be a chaplain. And we just said, no, it has to be a certified chaplain. So that's how we kind of got around that.
Yeah, thank you, Florida, for saying yes to it. And it was the NACL that really helped move it forward. And Ron DeSantis, upon signing it, says Satanists don't even apply. That's what he said to the media.
Is that not like religious discrimination? If you heard a second ago, he said the NACL. The NACL is the National Association of Christian Lawmakers. And it's an organization that was started by a guy named Jason Rapert. Wild last name, by the way. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. But you know how, like, some people have last names that represent their occupation? It's kind of like an old custom to take like Mason, for example, or Tyler or whatever, as a last name. Or Anderson, the son of Anders, or the son of Andrew, or whatever, Anders' son, you know, or like from a place that you were born, like Paul of Tarsus or whatever. What do you think Jason Rapert's dad did, I wonder, to get the last name Rapert? Anyway, yeah, Baker's a good one. Yeah, there's Baker too. Yeah, so Rapert created the National Association for Christian Lawmakers. He was previously a congressman in Alabama, maybe? I don't remember. Just get an idea of who Jason Rapert is that's writing this legislation to put chaplains in schools. He also writes legislation for 10 Commandments bills and stuff.
I've talked with parents. Their kids, some of them adult children, have been ensnared with this LGBTQ cult, and they've cut them off. You are in a cult, and in the name of Jesus Christ, I stand against this devil of hell, this LGBTQ cult in our country.
I appreciate that he's picked up the Q. That's nice, right? It's nice that he's recognizing the queer community also, or the questioning community. That's really good. This dude's a joke.
LGBTQ cult in our country. I command you in the name of Jesus to be thrown down.
Wow, he commanded in the name of Jesus. So that means there aren't any more gay people, right? Oh, there are. I guess his prayer or command didn't work. Does he have to command harder? Who's he commanding exactly? Is he commanding God to throw down the LGBTQ cult, quote unquote? This is the guy that's writing these bills. Jason Rapert. Jesus Christ, man. So yeah, they work closely with like governors across the country. Rapert does. It's like, I don't want. Maybe I should start saying Grapert or something to avoid monetization problems. It's dude's last name. I don't know what to say.
If you look at the Department of Defense list of approved chaplains for the DoD, there's not any Satanists. They're not there. They're not, according to the Supreme Court, they are not an organized religion. So
false. They are an organized religion. As a matter of fact, atheism, again, is considered a religion for legal purposes. Just to fit within the legal framework, atheists have all the same rights as Christians or Muslims or anybody else. An atheist can sue to do something on religious grounds for religious beliefs because they're considered a religion. Everything is considered a religion under the law like that. So I don't know what she's talking about. Like, where's she even pulling this from? Where'd she get this information? She's just making this up? Did somebody tell her this? Like, is she dumb as dog shit, or is she intentionally lying? I have no idea which one it is. Tell me in the comments, which one is it? She did mention chaplains in the military. That is a very unique situation where chaplains are allowed to be, and should be, in the military and in hospitals. And there's another place that they're commonly placed. And the reason that chaplains are in the military is because they're in a place where they can't go to church every day if they want. They cannot observe their religious beliefs or meet religious expectations because they're in the field. So chaplains will travel with them, from base to base, and they'll talk to the chaplain and confess their sins or whatever. They'll get their last rites and chaplains even work with Muslims to do like Muslim-related things too. And about no Satanist chaplains in the military, well, there could be if they wanted. If somebody wanted a Satanist chaplain, they could have it. It's not about gatekeeping, like, no, only Christian chaplains are allowed. That's not how it works. Anyway, the point is that chaplains should be in the military because people have to move from place to place. Schools are not like that. Kids can go to church after school if they want. These people want to impose indoctrination on children across the country. Everybody. Every single kid. Oh, one other thing. It's optional if you want to go to a chaplain in the military. You're not forced to. Or in jails. That's the other place. Jails, hospitals, and the military. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. This scenario that they're drawing up, it's imposed upon the children with or without parental consent. They're imposing it on people. Parental consent not required in 83% of these cases. Parental consent is required in 17%. Yeah, all right, let's keep listening.
Not there. They're not, according to the Supreme Court, they are not an organized religion. So
it's just a lie, seemingly.
It's a lot of fear-mongering among the narrative.
There are crazy people. We had the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster and a minister from the Church of Satan actually showed up and told all my school board members that, in fact, that they were going to apply to be a chaplain and all this kind of stuff. But, I think there's actually, what I was told is that there actually are appeals court at the federal level precedents out there that basically make it clear that the Church of Satan is not a legitimate religious faith and is not entitled to protection.
Again, that's false. That's simply false. They are a registered religion, not just like the Satanic Temple, not just the Church of Satan, but other Satanist groups. They're non-theistic, which means they don't believe in God, but they have tenets. They meet on a weekly basis. They have I think it's called the sniff test. They have all the hallmarks of a religion. They do all the things a religion does. They hold beliefs on all the same subjects, even though they're completely different beliefs from Christians. They have, positions on this stuff. They are a religion. Legally, according to the law, they are. I don't know where they're getting this. Are they just trying to, quell fears right now? Is that the whole point? The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is a satirical church that exists because of people like this. You're not allowed to wear a hat when you get your driver's license picture taken, right? You have to have just no earrings, no nothing, just your picture. Unless you're religious. If you are like a bishop and you have a Catholic bishop hat, kind of like the Pope hat, I don't even know. Do they wear those? And you want to have that taken, and you want to wear that during your driver's license picture, There's a religious exemption for it. You're legally allowed to do that in some cases. Like turbans, I think you can wear turbans in pictures and stuff. Because it's a religious belief, it's a religious thing, religious like requirement, the state will make an exception for it. So the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church decided to start wearing colanders to their driver's license thing. And the point is, it's a stupid law. Everybody should be expected to live up to the exact same things. Churches are not exempt from operating in society like everybody else. You know, I don't care what you believe as a Christian. You are not allowed to take a 12-year-old kid up to a mountaintop and strap them to a table and, sacrifice them to Yahweh. You're not allowed to do that. We have laws about murder, and that you're not exempt from it. There are lines that people cannot cross, and in my opinion, that's one of them. You shouldn't be allowed to have religious exemptions for this stuff. You know, Muslims can't wear like a niqab or a burqa or whatever when they get their driver's license taken. Neither should Christians shouldn't be allowed to wear stuff either. Everyone should just get their picture taken. It's the same with schools. That's why the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church exists, to push back against this kind of nonsense.
Out there that basically make it clear that the Church of Satan is not a legitimate religious faith and is not entitled to protection as Christianity would be.
So I guess that says nothing about like Jains or Sikhs, right? Because Sikh and Jain are definitely religions. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Anyway, he's just completely full of it anyway. Like I said, they are a religion. Like, once again, are these people dumb as dogs, or are they intentionally lying and deceiving people? Tell me what you think in the comments. Next up, there's a TikToker named NYC Gay Dad. He was attacked by white nationalists and Christian militant Stu Peters. He slandered the guy and contacted the police to open an investigation into him. He's just a gay dude with kids. It reached the point that Stu Peters took the videos down so he didn't risk legal action. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. This is a TikTok influencer, goes by NYC Gay Dad. And he just talks about his life, you know, just general stuff. He's gay, he lives in New York City, he has kids. So he kind of includes all that information, and it's just like a vlog or whatever. Oh boy, has the right come after this guy. It's insane. There's a guy named Stu Peters, if you don't know him. It's this guy right here. He came at NYC Gay Dad like you would not believe. So I want to talk about this. By the way, this happened in February of 2024. It's a little bit older, but it's worth talking about today, I think.
Guess what I had to wake up to this morning? Look at this.
Brace yourselves. There's this new viral TikTok video by some creep named Jose Rolón, who goes by the handle of NYC Gay Dad. And in this video,
Just a quick note here. I mean, this guy's name is public, but by putting it on blast to a malicious audience of Nazis. He's a Nazi, by the way, full-blown Nazi. Not because I don't like him. He's actually like a Hitler lover. To put his name on blast to other people who also love Hitler, hate black people, hate Jews, hate all these other demographics, hate immigrants, so on and so forth. To do that, it's just wrong. He knows what he's doing. Stu Peters does. And you know what? Let me just establish that for you. Not Stu Peters, but Libs of TikTok, the Twitter account, Libs of TikTok. Shia Raichik is her name, I think. There's an article on NBC News written about her. After Libs of TikTok posted, at least 21 bomb threats followed. I mean, this is like a common occurrence. This happens every single time she posts something. People get bomb threats. I mean, she talked about Boston Children's Hospital and claimed that they were like giving surgeries to children to like, trans-affirming surgeries to children. That's not happening. It was never happening. But she put them on blast, claimed that they were, and they get bomb threats every single day. To this day. That is what the right-wing ecosphere can do. Terrorizing you is an understatement. I mean, I went through this too. I talked about my kid's teacher who was, in health class talking about how she doesn't agree with, quote unquote, being trans or being gay. You should save sex until marriage. You need to have moral parents who believe in God. You can't be moral without God and all this other stuff. And I reported the teacher, and the entire town came after me. It was insane. A town of 3,400 people, like 1,800 or something, or 1,900, were on a Facebook page dedicated to doxing me and taking me down. I mean, it doesn't hurt me really, like, emotionally, like, whatever. I mean, I didn't agree with these people anyway. I don't care. But to have a car honking their horn at you literally every 45 seconds, all day and all night as they pass, having people looking in your windows, taking pictures through your windows, having to keep your blinds closed, not seeing sunlight for days because you can't open your windows. All that stuff sucks. Having tires slashed and everything. That's what these people bring. Okay, and I'm impartial here. I don't believe that this is right, whether it's on the left or the right. I don't think that it's okay to do, no matter who's doing it. Just so happens that, to my knowledge, literally all of this stochastic terrorism is happening on the right. I don't know of a single left-wing stochastic terrorist. I'm willing to be corrected on that. That's what this does. That's what Stu Peters is doing to NYC Gay Dad, to an audience of Nazis. Millions. I mean, keep listening here.
New viral TikTok video by some creep named Jose Rolón, who goes by the handle of NYC Gay Dad.
So one more thing. Stu Peters blurred the kids' faces here. He didn't blur them in his 20-minute long segment or whatever.
And in this video, this homosexual and these 4 kids who call him dad talk about how he takes them to drag shows and buys them sex toys.
That's false. I'm sure. I don't even need to say it, but I will.
So far as to take viewers for a tour of his closet, where one of his daughters shows off his cross-dressing wigs, and of course, he throws in a line about how he wants to bang Travis Kelce.
That didn't happen.
It's truly so utterly disgusting. I mean, I just can't explain it. All you can do is take a look. Try to digest this.
All right, so if you don't know the video, what was happening was it was a satirical video where he's pretending to be this thing that all of the right-wing nutcases hate. He's not actually like this, and it's very clear that it's satirical. You'll see in a second.
Yes.
We have a gay dad. Of course we have disco balls and rainbows all over the house.
That's satirical. They don't have disco balls and rainbows all over the house. It's a joke. I mean, how did that slip by? Does anything pierce that granite skull of yours?
And in the caption, he not only tags me, but he also tags the NYPD and says they should open up a sex crime investigation against me and my family. This D-list version of Tucker Carlson decided for his own benefit and likes that he would create a false narrative.
I know Stu Peters. I mean, I've been following him for a long time, and calling him a Tucker Carlson might not be doing Stu Peters' extremism justice. Like, you may be downplaying it by calling him D-list Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson defends Nazis a lot of the time, and he kind of dog whistles to Nazi stuff. Stu Peters is a Nazi. Okay, he straight up believes this stuff about Hitler being great and everything else. And then when called out on it, he just denies it. He just says, "Oh, I didn't say that." I literally have him on recording saying it. Yeah, here we go. Here is just one example of Stu Peters praising Hitler. Like, I just want to put this on record so everybody understands this. And just in case of any legal action or anything, I'm pretty covered here, I figure.
It was war. Horrific things happened. Lots of people died. It was World War II. I don't believe that World War II happened as a result of the Holocaust. I don't believe that that was the reason for the war. And I'm asking a lot of questions about that. People don't like when I ask a lot of questions about that.
No, go nuts. You can ask as many questions as you want. The questions aren't the problem. I ask these questions. I'm super interested. You are telling people the answers like you're a historian, like you've gone through this information, these books and these old records, and come to your own independent conclusion after reading it in its original language like a historian does. That's the problem, not asking the questions.
When I ask a lot of questions about that. Hitler may have been an evil dictator, a ruthless person that murdered millions of people. I don't know, because of the propaganda that surrounds every war.
Really? The Nazis kept records of this, okay? They were impeccable record keepers. We don't need to look at the victor's version of history. We can look at Hitler's words. I mean, I have AI reconstructions of his speeches in English that I've covered on my channels like 1,000 times. He hated Jews and he wanted them dead, and he explicitly said so.
War. But for this, wasn't he a hero? Wasn't Hitler doing the right thing when he ordered these books to be burned and these places to be stormed by force?
Hitler was a hero. You heard it here first.
Well, even if he didn't order it, at least the people that followed him knew what to do, and he wasn't going to complain about it. Yeah, this is what needed to be done. If you're going to save a civilization, I mean, the civilization was dying. This was the Prussian Empire was.
Prussia, I believe, was a German state at the time in World War II, a World War I, World War II era.
Something that was emulated by countries all over the world. The United States adopted their education system for better, for worse. People looked at their army.
By the way, don't believe a word out of their mouths right now, okay? Like, everything that these people say should be suspect. I mean, I'm not saying it's all false. Just verify it. Everything. Even if it's trivial. Even if you think this is common knowledge. Fact check it.
System for better, for worse. People looked at their army, people looked at their military, and they modeled their military after their military. And it was reduced to 42nd Street in the 1970s, where every perversion was available. The
42nd Street in the 90s? Is that what he said?
Street in the 1970s.
Oh, 70s. Okay. I assume he's talking about New York City. 42nd Street is Times Square. Sure, Times Square was absolutely nuts back then. It had serial killers and all kinds of crazy stuff. I live in New York City. And as soon as we took lead out of gasoline, just like that, serial killers went away, and all of the, prostitution and the drug trade and everything else reduced dramatically. Weird how that works, huh? That's neither here nor there.
Every perversion was available. The German people were embarrassed to be German. They were the Prussian people. The Prussian spirit was lost.
It's just completely false.
Thing that needed to be done to stop what was happening needed to be done. People complain.
Anything needed to be done is justified, is what he's just said. Whatever it takes to stop perversion, quote unquote, which means gay people just being in society, trans people existing, just being a part of society, burn as many books as it takes, take out as many people as is necessary, whatever. Just stop the perversion, quote unquote. He's praising Hitler, right?
Oh, when Hitler came to power, he made it illegal. All the National Socialists were the only political party that was legal after that. Well, desperate times, desperate measures. Mm-hmm. You have to do that. If you think that the
desperate times, desperate measures. Dude is justifying Hitler abolishing political parties. Okay, that's Stu Peters. I mean, well, this isn't Stu Peters, but this is who Stu Peters brought on. And Stu Peters did a few minutes ago say Hitler was a hero for the things that he did in World War II. That's Stu Peters being a Nazi, right? Is that fair to say? In my opinion, Stu Peters is a Nazi. And he comes out here and says all this stupid like this line he had on the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Yesterday, Newsweek called me a pro-Hitler Nazi.
Yep.
Story called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. I don't know how these people get I mean, they said that I was a Holocaust denier, which is completely false.
Yep. No, 100% real. We just listened to it.
Yep. Emphatically false. As a matter of fact, they made up a quote out of whole cloth and said, Stu Peters said, quote, Hitler is a hero.
He literally said it, okay? He literally said those words. And he's saying they made it up. Really? The guy just lies. He just lies, and he knows he's lying in this case. I keep wondering to myself, like, are these people dumb as dog shit, or are they just, like, intentionally deceiving people to further their own goals? At least in Stu Peters' case, I can confidently say he's lying. He's deceiving people to further his own goals, right?
they made up a quote out of whole cloth and said, Stu Peters said, quote, Hitler is a hero. I have never said any such thing. And they can print this stuff with impunity because the hubris is so, because there's no accountability.
Right. So you should be able to force people to stop talking. He's not pro free speech. He pretends to be, but just like he pretends to not be a Nazi, he doesn't stand for free speech either. Never did.
Because there's no accountability.
Yep.
And so they did this as a result of me announcing the Extreme Accountability event.
Okay.
And that's what we are going to, before I take my last breath, we're going to exact extreme accountability on these people for what they're doing to our kids.
Yeah.
When he says these people for what they're doing to our kids, he means gay people for existing in society, simply being gay. Not even doing a gay act, just being gay, admitting, coming out and saying, I'm gay. And when he says extreme accountability, I'll let NYC Gay Dad explain what that means in a second. Keep listening to this.
Create a false narrative. Clearly, as most of you know, he can't even count. I don't know where he got 4 kids from, unless, Stu, maybe you want to be my new kid and I can show you a few lessons. I could be your daddy.
That's painful. I'm sorry, man. That term has always... I love NYC Gay Dad to death. Just want to qualify what I'm about to say. He is the and he deserves to be supported, especially through this stuff. But I've never been a fan of that term. And since having a kid, that term actively makes me want to projectile vomit. God, it's painful. Okay, we're going to pretend he didn't say that.
Nowhere in there do I say I want to bang Travis Kelce. And he also says that I purposely and intentionally sold them something other than what I thought were bracelets. And then he goes on to do this.
This is the type.
Right. So this right here is what Stu Peters is talking about. These bracelets. Are these like somehow linked to sexuality? I don't know. Are these? He said they're sex toys. I have no clue what he's talking about. Are these not just bracelets? They look like the snap bracelets. I had these when I was little. Snap them onto your wrist. Isn't that what they are? This is what Stu Peters means when he says the dad is showing them his sex toys. These right here, these bracelets. Are these like, how would you even use these in that scenario? I can't imagine a situation in which you could use these in a sexual way. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just lost. Anyway, just keep listening here.
And then he goes on to do this.
This is the type of country that we're living in right now. Some pervert homo has access to at least 4 kids around the clock, all the time. He can take them to drag conventions and then post the evidence. Post pictures and videos of criminal sexual conduct, or at minimum, lewd and lascivious behavior on.
Really? Criminal sexual conduct. That's not happening. At no point was there ever any kind of sexual anything. He never did anything at all around his kids that was questionable. In fact, I haven't seen a single video where he's done anything questionable, aside from maybe that daddy line. Ugh. Stu Peters just full of shit here. And he said he downplays it. But at minimum, lewd and lascivious behavior. Oh, so you're just censoring free speech now. You're just not allowed to say what you want to say on the internet. Okay. You sure you want to go down this road, Stu? There are a lot of people who would like to censor you. That's what he was complaining about earlier. He had an extreme accountability conference that the venue canceled on him, and the ticketing system, Eventbrite, canceled on him too, because they don't want to work with a Nazi, full-blown Nazi. And he's complaining about it like he should have free speech. Either you have free speech or you don't. When you see contradictory things like this, stuff that reveals a deep hypocrisy in your moral system, it's not because Stu Peters has a contradictory moral system. He doesn't, in my opinion. In fact, I think that almost nobody, I don't know of a single person who has a contradictory moral system. They have a moral system that they won't admit to sometimes. There are people who want gay people dead, but don't want to say that. Like Stu Peters, maybe he doesn't want to come out and say, I want free speech. I don't want them to have free speech. But that's his belief. That's his moral system. When you find contradictory things like this, it's evidence, in my opinion, that there's a larger framework here that is not being exposed, that we're not looking at.
Post pictures and videos of criminal sexual conduct, or at minimum, lewd and lascivious behavior online, and somehow not end up in jail, or better yet, the gallows.
I don't need to
That's extreme accountability, the gallows. Stu Peters has said, quote, I want to hang them from a thick rope until they are dead. End quote. Okay, I have that quote, but I can't go down a whole rabbit hole here. The point is that he wants this guy dead. He wants every gay person dead.
I don't need to defend myself in a parody that I created. This guy has literally accused me of sex crimes. But Stu, it's people like you that are destroying this country. It's people like you that should be reported to the authorities.
100%. He's a stochastic terrorist. It should be illegal to be a stochastic terrorist, just like it's illegal to be a domestic terrorist. They're the same thing in my mind. Stochastic terrorism, if you don't know, is where somebody demonizes another person, talks about them nonstop to the point that their followers are guaranteed to do some lone wolf attack, but the attack itself can't be predicted, like where it's going to be and who it's going to be. Libs of TikTok is a great example of stochastic terrorism. This is a term that's existed for like ever. And because of the free speech laws in the United States, stochastic terrorism is not illegal. My overarching moral framework is one where you can say absolutely anything, including speech that others hate, until you are leading to somebody's death or leading to serious imminent harm. That's what the U.S. is supposed to be, but for some reason it's just like not happening that way.
No different than what the guys at Fox News does. He's called me a deviant, pervert, a creep. Now, Stu, I don't know how to handle you, to be honest. I don't know if I should ask my followers to just come love bomb you or report you, or worse, should I send my gay mafia? There is a gay mafia.
I knew it! I knew it! He's finally confirming it for me.
And they're nasty.
Yeah, they are. It's bad in New York City. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you're scared. I think you're scared of losing. You're scared of losing all the privilege that you think you have. But coming after me and my children and my family, it's not it. It's not gonna progress your cause. And
well, I mean, his cause is to get gay people to die. So, you know, it is gonna progress his cause if his cause is grotesque and evil. Unfortunately, just my God, dude. What I want to know about Stu Peters' childhood. What was it in his life that like led him down this path? Was he always a Nazi? Were his parents Nazis? I am so curious.
Cause, and I don't know if you're a parent or not, but if you are, God bless your children, because that's where the real crime is.
Just like Stu Peters was, I'm assuming, propagandized, bombarded with Nazi propaganda from a young age, I presume. Just like that, I imagine that his kids are also being bombarded with Nazi propaganda. Just wild. Did not end there, though. Didn't end there. Fascinatingly, Stu Peters was forced to take these videos down. Not forced. The bottom line is NYC gay dad sent a cease and desist letter, which is like a warning letter. He had a lawyer write it up. They're not easy to write unless you're like a lawyer, you know what it is. It's a warning that there's legal action imminent if you don't stop and take the videos down and everything. And the cease and desist absolutely had teeth. This dude 100% could have sued Stu Peters for defamation and stuff. I'm sure of it. Any lawyer would have taken that case. And it would have tied Stu Peters up in litigation for who knows how long. Tons of money and everything. Even if Stu Peters didn't lose, if he like won and he didn't have to pay the money, he just paid a ton of money for lawyers, didn't he? Either way, he loses here. That's why I'm very careful about never defaming anybody. I don't ever want to frame something as like, I know for a fact that Stu Peters is a supporter of Hitler because blah, blah, blah. I only go on the words that they say, and I state very clearly that it's my opinion. Anyway, he sent a cease and desist to Stu Peters, and Stu took all of the videos down that mentioned this guy, I guess. And that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Unfortunately, Stu is doing all of the same stuff to other people right now who don't have the resources to bring a lawsuit against him. Honestly, it's not just Stu Peters. Like, Libs of TikTok defames people all the time. and ruins their lives, puts them in danger, like I was, for example. People looking in my windows, taking pictures through the shades, slashing my tires, honking their horn every 45 seconds. It's not good. There are stochastic terrorists out there, and I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to support them when we hear about this. We need to talk about it, make sure everybody is aware that these people are stochastic terrorists, and follow these people. Give them some encouragement and support. Again, this happened in February 2024, so this is probably behind him now, but it's a good opportunity to talk about Stu Peters and what he's up to and why it's harmful. Listen to the second part of this Stu Peters saga. This is just a few days later, I believe.
I want to update everybody on my last post on Stu Peters, who has put me, my kids, and my family in danger. He not only accused me of sex crimes while tagging the NYPD, asking for my arrest, but he even said that I should be met at the gallows. This translates into me being hung in public, to die. After discovering some things last night, this man actually has a much larger following than any of us anticipated. He has about 1 million followers, over 500,000 where he houses his news channel on Rumble.
Yeah, he's very, very big and influential. He should not be underestimated. He's like, I think about who to compare him to. Like, honestly, he's probably like Tucker Carlson today or Glenn Beck. Not at their height when they were on Fox News, but today. He's at least as big as Alex Jones, I would say. Yeah, he has 500,000 on Rumble, but he's got his own like website, his own podcast serving stuff where he serves ads and, you know, all this other stuff to everybody. So he's gigantic, and it's hard to estimate, but we can get a pretty rough idea.
The video that you guys saw happened to just be a snippet. The things that he was saying about me was part of a 54-minute news segment. As you can see, he not only has me part of this segment, but he has me even part of another 14-minute segment. And he doesn't even blur my kids' faces out. In the longer version, he even has a commentator by the name of John Miller saying things like this.
Okay, John Miller is... Okay, just listen. I'll tell you about John Miller in a second.
This is why these people shouldn't have children. You know, we keep on hearing, oh, well, what can a gay dad do? What can a straight parent do that a gay dad can't? They don't do that, okay? They don't take their kids around their closet and show them their toys.
That didn't happen. What is he talking about? They were wearing bracelets. Is that what he means? I don't understand. Also about John Miller, the name. Forever ago, before Donald Trump was like as big as he is now, he used to call into like news agencies as Donald Trump's press officer or whatever. And it was very obviously his voice. There are recordings of this. Like, you can listen to Donald Trump pretending to be his own press person named John Miller. It's kind of funny. It's such a common name, I guess, that it's used as a fake name because it's believable. Is that really this guy's name? I guess it could be.
Okay, they don't take their kids around their closet and show them their toys.
And here are some of just a few comments from the people that are watching his segments. Freak show, kill the filthy clown, execute, it just goes on and on. But the one that really got to me, that shows me what kind of people are in this world, is this one. That fake dad deserves a necktie, ... party. I deserve a hanging party. And look at a reply to this one. Great name. And yes, he needs a Colombian necktie or to be thrown a boot party. A steel-toed dock to the head is the cure for what ails him.
That's psychotic. That is stochastic terrorism right there. That is Stu Peters' effect on the world. Oh, somebody said nice name, and I wondered what it was. It's ENWORDSTORY. N-word story. I don't know what that means exactly, but I know that it's a shout out to like the N-word. So, and somebody else says that's a great name. Fantastic.
So I'm fine. The kids are completely unaware. They will someday, obviously. But these are the people.
Not necessarily, obviously. They may not. You know, it feels like it's intense in the moment, but it's not as easy to track this information down or to find these hate campaigns, especially like 20 years in the future. They may not even have any idea. Either way, it's wrong. It shouldn't have happened.
But these are the people that are out there. And I'm doing everything that I need to do on my end. And I thank all of you for all the love and support you guys have shown over the last couple days. But this is a big problem. Stu Peters is not just anti-LGBTQ. He's anti-Jew. He's a Holocaust denier. And so much more. We need to hold these platforms accountable, including Rumble. Rumble, even if you look under the terms and conditions, his website is filled with so much hate and propaganda, and Rumble has been allowing this. It fails the terms and conditions. The first one alone says, you may not post or transmit any messages which is libelous, defamatory, or which discloses private or personal matters concerning any person or entity.
No doxing, I guess. This might actually be like a legal protection for Rumble. Like they're trying to protect themselves legally. They don't enforce any of this stuff. I see this stuff all the time.
Number 5, you may not post or transmit any message which is abusive, inciting violence, harassing, harmful, hateful, anti-Semitic, racist, or threatening.
That's like constant on Rumble, really?
And he does most of those things in just one video. And in a lot of the videos, he doesn't name drop a lot of people, but he not only names my name, names my business, but has my children on there too. So all this is to say, it's not just our family that's in danger, it's all of our families that are in danger. These are the people that are out there. It's important that all of us collectively hold him and these sites, including social media platforms, accountable. The media needs to know about this.
And when he says accountable, he doesn't mean extreme accountability like Stu Peters. He means spread the word, talk about this, spread awareness about the fact that there is a Nazi in our midst who is using stochastic terrorism as a weapon against the LGBT community. Get it on the media. Make him absolutely toxic to talk about or to watch or whatever. Alex Jones, once upon a time, I don't know about now, was so toxic to talk about. Nobody would admit to even knowing the guy because not only was he a conspiracy theorist, but he lied and propagandized and doxed the people who lost kids at Sandy Hook. Stu Peters is Alex Jones making fun of that situation, the Sandy Hook situation, pretending it didn't happen. Stu Peters is trying to, seemingly, make that situation happen against his enemies. We need to make this guy as toxic as Alex Jones, as far as, like, media goes or whatever. Anyway, yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This is just insane. Sorry for NYC Gay Dad that he had to deal with all of that. But, if you're watching, I know the feeling. I've been there, 100%. Hopefully you got people who care. I personally had to, flee the state. I put a mask on and a hood over my head, and we were driving, and my wife would get out at a gas station every 30 minutes or so and check the newspaper to see if I was in it. If I was in it, then I would, I'm not going to get out because people in that town know who I am too. It was insane. And that was somebody without a big platform to attack me. Stu Peters has a big platform. I don't know how you got through this if you're watching this. That's crazy. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. If you have any encouraging comments for NYC Gay Dad, there's a possibility he might check this. So leave them in the comments and show him some support. LRJ, Lou, I have ideas of how to use a snap bracelet sexually, but I'll keep it to myself. Okay. You know what? If I gave it some hard, introspective thought, which I might do tonight, might just sit in bed, I usually watch a TV show for an hour or two before I finally get to sleep. I have it playing in the background. Maybe I'll just turn the TV off and I'll sit down and I'll really think about how to use these in a gay way. It has to be in a gay way. It can't just be in a straight way. Next up, A tradwife influencer just went viral for saying the N-word multiple times. Her name is Lilly Gaddis. She's very popular on the right-wing circuit, but she had a falling out with the ecosphere after they accused her of sleeping with somebody at one of the conferences. It is a roller coaster of a story. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. This is a girl who's known as the N-word girl because she likes saying the N-word a bunch. I don't know how else to say that. Should I put this at the front of the video? And guess what? She became a right-wing influencer. Of course, got famous for saying the N-word, throwing it around, and the far right picked her up and said, yeah, we'll put you on our shoulders and trot you out as our star or whatever. Free speech, right? Just listen to this video from her. She's a tradwife, by the way. If you don't know tradwives, they're traditional wives. They're people who believe that women belong in the kitchen, pregnant, and barefoot. They shouldn't work. The man should provide for them. All they should do is take care of the children and the man. Just take care of your family. That's it. Nothing else. It's like a requirement as part of their religious views most of the time. It's commonly believed in Catholic circles. Anyway, she's a tradwife. She's baking or cooking something here. So let's listen to this tradwife say the N-word, presumably super religious.
Okay, this time I have a beef with the male community. I give my criticisms to all because we are all about equity and inclusion here, right?
That means no, she's not, obviously. She's being sarcastic, right?
So I'm sick and tired of all girls getting blamed, or like guys, certain guys, thinking that all girls are gold diggers.
Okay, I don't think that. Do you hang around people that think that a bunch? Maybe reassess your friend group and see if maybe they're not healthy for you anymore.
I don't know if it's because you get your information from those street interviews in Miami at 3 a.m. outside of a nightclub. You're getting the opinion of some dumb and...
Wow, okay. Well, that doesn't seem like something a Christian would say, does it? Like I said, the tradwife community is very heavily Christian, very Catholic. They're doing this for religious reasons, trying to be a quote-unquote biblical wife. Why is she doing it? Is she a Christian or what? She says a lot of bad words for being a Christian, right? Not that I care. It's just a weird thing to see from a tradwife.
Immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green card. Yes, they are probably gold diggers, but that's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke-ass...
There it is. Oh my God, dude! Just throwing out the N-word all willy-nilly. Of course, I'm not going to play it, but you get the idea. What is wrong with her?
And they don't care. We don't give a about your money. I couldn't care less about your money. Okay.
Does not sound very Christian right now.
Okay. My type is broke mechanics and surfer hippie dudes who just want to live in a shack and surf and have babies. All I ask of a man is that you're competent, you're not a...
Not Christian at all. I don't know. Why are you a tradwife?
If somebody broke into our house at 3 a.m., you would know how to grab a gun and shoot a motherfucker. That's pretty much all we ask. That's pretty much all girls I know.
I mean, that's all we ask. We just want you to commit, manslaughter or justifiable homicide. What's the big deal? That's all I'm asking for. What? Oh my God.
All girls I know. I don't know one girl who's a gold digger. So stop throwing us all under the bus as if we're all gold diggers because we don't give a f***. I don't give a f*** about your money. My dating history consists of all broke guys. I actually don't even like rich guys. They have an attitude. They're spoiled brats. They don't know anything about real life. I was raised on a farm with 4 brothers, so I can't deal with the bullshit. I don't like a... I hate... So stop with the gold digger. Stop.
That's insane. That is absolutely nuts. What is happening? She wants to be super edgy so that she can shoot to the top and get all of the attention, and it worked. She did. She got all the attention from the far right. And about the justifiable homicide thing, I just want to point this out. Think about Kyle Rittenhouse, okay? He was found not guilty, although in my opinion, he should have been found guilty in that case. He shot and killed 3 people, didn't he? Or did he shoot 3 and kill 2? I don't remember. Now, the courts decided that that was justifiable self-defense, and the courts might, and I could go as far as say probably would, find that you acted in self-defense also if you pulled a gun out in the middle of the night and somebody was in your house and you pulled the trigger. But that's like a split-second decision that you made. It's a split-second decision that Kyle Rittenhouse made. I mean, there were a lot of steps that led up to that, buying the gun, taking it to a protest, so on and so forth. But do you really want your entire life torn apart and litigated into the ground, facing down 30 years in prison? Not to mention, the court costs. You're going to lose your job because you're going to be in jail for a while. You might even be on probation. How are you even going to pay for a lawyer? Do you really want to go through all of that for this, love of shooting somebody? Do you want your life to be torn apart over a split-second decision? When a gun is in the home, you and your family are more likely to be harmed from gun violence in some way. What if a neighbor comes home drunk and forgets, I don't know, he has no idea that he's at the wrong house and he just opens the door and he walks in? What if your kid is sneaking in? What then? What if your kid snuck out at night and came back? You're gonna kill somebody for no reason. It's not about being a coward or whatever, as she called it. It's about not being an idiot. It's about looking forward to your future. And, in my opinion, I believe that she probably did this whole, N-word line specifically to get attention. And it worked. She got attention, but they turned on her in the end, hilariously. Just a little context here. AFPAC is a super PAC and a conference run by Nick Fuentes. He has a group of supporters that he calls Groypers. I don't even know what it means, but anyway. The America First Party in the 1940s was a political party that specifically existed to support Hitler in the United States. You couldn't give aid or comfort to an enemy, but you could encourage the United States to exit the war. Or, we want to be isolationists. We don't want anything to do with anybody, that kind of thing. So that's what AFPAC lobbied for. After the war ended, it fell apart because they didn't need to lobby for no involvement in World War II anymore. It was over. And Nick Fuentes brought it back. Nick Fuentes loves Hitler. Again, I'm not saying this because I'm on the left and I don't like the guy or whatever. He loves Hitler. He has said so. Anyway, she goes to the AFPAC conference because she said the N-word, and everybody there loved it, I guess. And this rumor spread that she slept with somebody at the conference, being a trad wife or a potential trad wife, somebody that wants to be a trad wife in the future. That is completely forbidden, obviously. So everybody turned on her, all of the Groypers. They started doxing her and all kinds of crazy stuff. It completely fell through the floor. Mess with the bull, you get the horns. Is that what they say? Here's a tweet from somebody. Based N-word girl, Lilly blank, because she has a different name here, who changed to Lilly a few years ago, says she represents the Jewish frat boys holding the American flag. Actually, she said she sent a picture of a protest where people were making fun of a black woman and acting like apes. There were some Jewish people there, and she happened to grab the screen cap from that video that had a Jewish guy in it. And she said, these are the people that I support. Not saying she supports Jewish people. She doesn't. Trust me. But they turned on her. And now they're fabricating reasons to hate her. She claims to be so ignorant of politics, but knows fringe political figures like Jew Jacob Wall and reposts the IDF. So that should give you some context for the types of people that are canceling her and what they're doing, and the types of people that she ingratiated herself with. She wanted to be in this group. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Oh, by the way, this all happened in June 2024. So after all of this started blowing up, she releases this video to address the controversy.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community, and all the backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive, like do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
You're going to call us racist? You're going to call us potential Timothy McVeigh's? You. War.
Okay, I don't know why she added that at the end or who this guy is. I probably should know who he is, but he's complaining that people are calling him Timothy McVeigh and then saying he's going to start a race war. That is literally exactly what the whole Timothy McVeigh movement was about. Are you kidding me here? Actually, I think Timothy McVeigh bombed the Oklahoma City something or other. I don't remember. It was in Oklahoma City. He did that in retaliation for what ATF did to Waco, Texas. They raided the Waco, Texas, the Branch Davidians compound, and because they were stockpiling illegal weapons and stuff. And yeah, Timothy McVeigh did not like that very much. He did the Oklahoma City bombing for that. So anyway, I don't know, like, is this guy saying that he wants to start a war because you're accusing him of wanting to start a war? Is that what this is? Hold on, let me just do a reverse image search on this, image and see if I can find him. Hang on 1 second here. Yeah. Oh no, this guy died, apparently. Well, I mean, look, I don't want anyone to die. I don't wish death on a single person. I'm not going to cry when I see the obituary, but I don't want it to happen. Are you kidding me? It's exclusive to subscribers. I can't even look at the article. Whatever. You know what? I don't even care about this guy enough to read about him. I think he died, and he was a pastor. Pastor Ben on X talks about Andrew Breitbart. Oh, wait, is he the guy that... Is he Breitbart? Like the guy that started Breitbart Media? Dude, I think it is. I think this is like Andrew Breitbart. Yeah, this guy is definitely like Timothy McVeigh. Okay, wow. Yep, this is Andrew Breitbart, apparently. Crazy. Well, we know what kind of person she is, right? Oh, yeah, at the end of her little TikTok, it says, if the First Amendment is intended to protect anything, it's intended to protect offensive speech. If you're not going to offend anyone, you don't need protection. Larry Flynt. Okay, I don't know who Larry Flynt is. I probably should again, but I agree with the sentiment here. Speech should not... You shouldn't be jailed for speech. Freedom of speech is intended to protect the most vile, disgusting that you've ever heard in your life. That's why it's there. But you're not free from consequences that are not imposed by the state. For example, no one has an obligation to host your video on their website, like YouTube. I don't have an obligation to listen to what she has to say and broadcast it to an audience. I don't have an obligation to support her, to buy merch from her or whatever it is she's selling. That's very different from being jailed for the things that you say. And also, she doesn't believe in freedom of speech. All she does is attack people for the things that they say. And, I can't say that she calls for people to be silenced because I've only seen a few of her videos. She probably does. I don't know. Just to be fair, I'm going to say I don't know if she does that or not. But she does not support freedom of speech to any degree. This is a conflicting principle in her head. What's the overarching principle? When we look down and we see the moral system, she says, I want freedom of speech, and then says, I don't want them to have freedom of speech. What's the overarching principle here? That she wants special treatment. She wants privilege. That's the overarching principle. After this all blew up, she went on this guy's show. Not sure who this TJ Sotomayor? Unfamiliar with the guy. Anyway, she goes on this dude's show and just listen to this.
The questions that are out there. So let me ask you this question. The first question is from a lot of the white nationalists. That's usually people who ask the question. They were asking, are you Jewish?
No, I'm not Jewish.
Yeah, people don't like Jews very much in this circle.
And by the
They
way,
gave you a Jewish plant, though, because they said your
I
last
was
name.
Jewish. If I was Jewish, I would have a 1969 convertible Mercedes. I would have a beach house in Hawaii.
Because all Jewish people are rich elites that control the economy and are power hungry and money hungry and will do anything for a dollar, right? Personally, I imagine, we don't want money, right? We want to be broke. We want to be destitute. We don't want any fame. We don't want anything. We want to live on the street. Matter of fact, we want to be homeless. But Jewish people, they don't want to be homeless, you see. So they want money. She's framing this as though Jews are the only people that want money. Everybody wants money, okay? Jews don't have like some unique thing in their blood that makes them want money. What the hell is she talking about? This is just calling back to this old Nazi trope from Hitler about Jews being the elites that that forced Germans to fight in a war. And as Hitler said, if he had only gassed 6,000 of them, then millions of Germans wouldn't have been gassed in the trenches by the British or whatever. She's using that same line of logic. That's where she's getting this from. Anyway, okay. So she'd be rich if she were Jewish. Go on.
Convertible Mercedes. I would have a beach house in Hawaii. I wouldn't be a broke ass nigga. You know what I mean?
She knows, right? She knows what she's doing. She's doing this intentionally, just to be edgy and to get attention, right? Why? Why is she like this?
So I could use some circles.
Said it to a black dude, and he's like laughing.
I wouldn't be a broke ass nigga. You know what I mean? So I could use some shekels. Where are the shekels?
Where are the shekels, she says.
You wouldn't be a broke ass nigga. So, okay. So,
what is happening, dude? This is insane. I don't usually hear people go this far. Like, usually they'll dog whistle to it and maybe step to the edge and kind of say things that aren't really appropriate, but they won't go all the way. She hit the floor with that pedal. She just rammed her foot right onto the floor and gave it as much gas as she could, didn't she? Jesus Christ. Anyway, just a little bit more about who she is. She's anti-feminist. I'm sure I didn't need to say that, but anti-racist. No, sorry, let me rephrase. She's anti-racists. So she's, I guess, in favor of racism. And she's anti-feminist. So listen to what she had to say here. By the way, again, all of this June 2024.
Something that's absolutely unforgivable is people who play the victim card while living in America. You live in America. You live in the freest, safest country in the world.
Oh my God, really? You think that? Is that real? Like, you really think that? One more time?
You live in America. You live in the freest, safest country in the world.
She does. I think she believes this. There are metrics that people use, like economists and, analysts, political analysts and stuff. They use metrics to measure which countries are the freest and which have the most opportunity. It's called upward mobility. The American dream? It's called upward mobility. The United States is way down here with money and upward mobility, with freedom and healthcare and education and everything else that you can think of, pretty much. I don't know of a single thing, a single area of society that the United States is the top of, outside of having the most guns. Doesn't America own half of the world's supply of guns or something? Let me just look this up because there's a number here. American civilians account for an estimated 393 million. About 46% of the worldwide total of civilian-held firearms, or about 120 firearms for every 100 American residents. Somebody's stockpiling. The point is, America is not the freest or the...
You live in the freest, safest country.
I didn't even connect the dots that she said the safest. I was just attacking the freest part. Okay. Wow, that's even more ridiculous. The safest country? Really? Does she think that? Okay. Go on.
In the world. And you have the nerve to play the victim card? You realize there are slave traders in Africa right now. Look it up. Look up that video of all those African slaves.
Yeah. Bad things happen in other countries. This is not news to anybody. That doesn't mean that bad things don't happen here too, or that the problems that you're dealing with here in the United States are invalid for one reason or another. Imagine you go into a restaurant after work, right? You want to sit up at the bar at the restaurant and have a beer or something. You get in your car, and as you get in, you notice that somebody dented your car and didn't leave a note, didn't leave anything. Just drove off. Whatever. You get in your car, which isn't very nice, but it gets you from A to B, so whatever. You drive over to the restaurant, and on your way, police officer pulls you over for absolutely no reason. Doesn't cite a reason, doesn't nothing. He just pulls you over, says license and registration, where are you going tonight, and all that other stuff, and he says, okay, and then leaves. You start the car back up, you go on your way, get to the bar, you walk in, people are looking at you weird. Everybody's looking at you like you have something on your face. Some people are looking at you like you have something on your face, and other people are just acting very odd, like not normal around you specifically. You sit at the bar, and everybody else seems to be in a little club that you aren't a part of. Everything that I just listed there is called a microaggression. You know, it's not like these individual items may not, you can just pass them off, just ignore it, whatever. It happens, just move on. Police officer's a D-bag, so I'm just going to move on with my life. But it happens constantly in the black community. Disproportionately often. In New York City, stop and frisk cases were 97% minority groups that were stopped and frisked. Stopped in a subway station by police and just searched. Unconstitutional. It was deemed unconstitutional, but New York City still does it. Anyway, they just ignore the Constitution. The police do. 97% were from a minority group. Black, Hispanic, and there are a bunch of different minorities around here. Black is the largest minority group in New York City, I think. Anyway, might be Asian. The largest ethnic group is white, non-Hispanic, with 2.69 million residents. Second and third largest ethnic groups are black or African American, non-Hispanic, and then Asian, non-Hispanic, with 1.8 million and 1.24 million residents, respectively. Anyway, the point is that the police almost always only stop black people. Okay, this is individually not a big deal, right? Little things along the way, not whatever. People are D-bags, but it adds up to something bigger. And yeah, I know that there's a slave trade, and that's bad. Okay, slave trade bad. I don't like that. I wish I could, if I had a magic wand, I'd wave it and stop that. But I'm in America right now, and I have literally less than zero control over the slave trade in African countries. But I do have some degree of control over mistreatment of the black community. I can lobby to bring an end to stop and frisk. I can talk to my representatives and call them and talk to an audience and yell about how people are treated on a daily basis until something changes. When protest happens, it looks really bad on a representative. Many representatives are not in safe seats. Congressmen, state representatives, state senators, all the way down, school board officials and everything. They're not in safe seats. They have to campaign for this. They have to fight for this. And if there's a protest against something that they're doing, it decreases their chances of winning their next election. So yeah, congressmen at the top, federal congressmen, maybe they don't care about protest. I don't know. But the guys under them certainly do. The people on your local level, you can affect change there. So yeah, I feel like she's just downplaying the problems that we have in America. And I mean, she pretty much straight up said, right? There are no issues in America, certainly none that are worth complaining about.
All those African slaves at an auction. That's going on right now. And you have the nerve to be complaining about racism in America? And feminists. There's women being stoned to death in the Middle East because they were raped. They were raped and they get stoned to death. And you...
Okay, people are... I'm just going to have to say it. I try to keep things in a monetizer-friendly way, but I'll have to mute it later. People get in the United States all the time and nothing happens. It's a particularly big problem in the military. Commanding officers do this to their subordinates, and nothing happens. Swept under the rug. These people get away with it, and they go on to do it over and over and over again. There's a problem in society with people not believing that this is happening. Who would believe that such a lovable, trustworthy America's dad like Bill Cosby could do something so awful? He certainly wouldn't, right? As we found out, obviously, he did. He did so much bad to people that he never faced accountability for. Yeah, he went to jail for a few years at the end of his life. Great. He spent the other 70-something years taking advantage of people, drugging them, getting filthy rich, and living an incredible lifestyle in a mansion. This happens here too, okay? I don't want to hear any of this about how things are worse over there than they are over here. It doesn't even matter. This stuff happens here too. As far as being stoned to death, yeah, that's bad. Stoning bad, I agree. That doesn't change anything about our situation in the U.S.
Have the nerve to complain about sexism in America? Shut the actual up. Shut the up. There's
Okay.
people right now that's been kidnapped by the cartel and they're waiting to be tortured or killed.
Okay, sure, yes. Cartel bad, I agree. Again, doesn't change our situation here. I have nothing that I can do to affect change with the cartel.
There's people who's being human trafficked right now. Right now.
Right now, people.
You've got the nerve to be playing your victim card and act like you're such a victim in this country and you're so shit on in this country. I got news for you, dumb. Everybody has happened to everybody. Everybody's had a hard time in life.
Okay. She doesn't understand. Is it that she doesn't understand or she just doesn't care? I don't know. I draw out this image of what happened, like what microaggressions are and how they affect people. Is she even aware of that? Probably not, right? Maybe she's just ignorant. I mean, she's certainly a scumbag. I think I've proven that without a shadow of a doubt. But on this subject, she just ignorant on this? And another thing, the black community was, slavery was ended in the U.S. officially, 1965, I think. Or, I'm sorry, 1865, right? Somewhere in there? 1864? It took years for all of the slaves to be freed officially, and they had to be freed through the federal government sending the military down to announce it to people and buy the slaves, basically. The government purchased slaves from slave owners in the U.S., really. They paid them for the slaves' freedom. So the slave owners got reparations. The slaves didn't, though. That's neither here nor there. They were just freed 100 and something years ago, 150 years ago maybe, right? From 1865 to 1964, I believe, there was enforced segregation in the United States. Black community could not live near the white community. They went to different schools. They drank from different water fountains. They couldn't hold the same jobs as white people. And all the wealth was concentrated in the white community. All of the millionaires were in the white community. In fact, there are only, for a long time at least, there was only one black billionaire. It was Oprah. And then I think Michael Jordan became a black billionaire. Now I think Beyonce and Jay-Z maybe. I don't know. So there are a few now compared to the hundreds of white billionaires. You know why that is? Because black people were just allowed to start going around the monopoly board 50 years ago. And the white wealth owners had already purchased up all of the properties and put hotels on Park Avenue. And just they keep pass and go over and over and over again. And every time they pass go, some of the black characters hit the go straight to jail thing. Okay, I've taken this analogy as far as I can. The point is that the black community has historically been oppressed and impoverished by the circumstances in the United States. She can pretend that that's not the case all she wants. She lives in a fantasy land. I just wonder if she really believes this.
You're not unique, okay? You're not unique because you belong to a minority or you're part of the rainbow community.
Well, I mean, not to belabor the point, but I think they are actually unique for being part of a minority demographic, right? Doesn't that make people unique? What does she mean by unique?
Minority, or you're part of the rainbow community, or you're a woman. We're all lucky as to be born in this country.
I beg to differ, madam.
Where you can't just be trafficked the second you walk out of your house, or beheaded if you happen to get stoned to death. Just maybe be grateful that you live in a country instead of being such an ungrateful, stupid, delusional.
I'm so glad I live in a country. Thank you, America, for being a country. Look, I like the United States. I like New York City where I live. I am actually a patriot, in all seriousness. I consider myself a patriot. I would fight for this country. Really, I would. I'm not a nutcase. I don't make this part of my identity. I don't talk about it 24/7. It's not something I have to bring up every Thanksgiving with everybody around the table. But I'm a patriot, sure. I don't think she understands what patriotism is and how it differs from being an extreme nationalist, though. A nationalist is somebody who believes that their country is best and there are no questions asked about it. That's it. They are the best. And you say, my country deserves to control everything. My country's the only one that has any claim to authority in the world. Usually nationalist is paired with another word. White nationalist, I don't know, Jewish nationalist, Christian nationalist, whatever. If you're a Christian nationalist, for example, you want everybody to live under the umbrella of Christianity, and anybody who isn't under that umbrella should be deported or killed. Nationalism is like an extreme form of building something into your identity so deeply and intertwining it with politics to a degree that it's not possible to break apart anymore. That's not the same as patriotism. She doesn't know the difference, I'm sure of it. Now, having established, I feel, that I'm a patriot, not a nationalist, but a patriot, I feel that as a patriot, it's very important for me to point out problems in society so that we can fix them. I think it makes me a better person to call out issues. I think it makes the country stronger and better to look at areas where we can be better as a society, as a country, and improve lives for everybody. I guess we can't criticize the United States at all then, right? Is that the bottom line here? Is that what she's saying? And if you do, then you're what?
Just maybe be grateful that you live in a country instead of being such an ungrateful, stupid, delusional.
Right. If you don't agree with her on this, you're an ungrateful, delusional, stupid, I think. Okay, great. Anyway, that's N-word girl, if you were wondering. Absolutely psychotic. Get help, okay? Seriously. Get help. This is bad. That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. And take a look at my YouTube channels. Owen Morgan, where I talk about religious issues. Telltale Fireside Chat, where I talk about politics. Telltale Unfiltered, where I do long-form breakdowns of stuff like this. And take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.